Hello and happy Friday, everyone. Welcome back to another episode of Talking Freight. As you know right now, the weekly freight and transportation management series brought to you by Cerasis, the transportation management company. Each week we look to bring you tips, thoughts, best practices, and trends around freight and transportation management. And this week, we are just this much closer to the end of our ongoing full truckload series. Hey, I know we've spent a lot of time on this, but it's really important this year. There's a huge capacity crunch going on, and full truckload was often one of those things that people took for granted. So we wanted to highlight that you can be strategic with full truckload just like you are in other modes. And so that's why today, we're gonna start taking a more broad look at all of your modes as we explore a bit deeper in this full truckload series. Now, we're gonna go ahead and talk about how you can effectively manage all over-the-road modes. Surging e-commerce demand for faster and cheaper shipping and unrelenting demand for superior customer service are enough to make any shipper's head spin. But as shipping costs soar throughout 2018, shippers will be looking for ways to manage over-the-road modes better. Now, defining better is always a difficult task, but for the purposes of objectivity, better refers to accessing more available truckload capacity, which of course is tightening more than ever. Scheduling freight with the right type of carrier that specializes in a given type of full truckload and securing such capacity can be possible at competitive rates. Now, managing existing over-the-road modes of transportation can feel like an insurmountable task, but a transportation management system could be the solution. So let's take a closer look at the problem with trying to manage over-the-road modes through traditional manual data entry and freight scheduling versus using a TMS. First, let's lay out the challenge, or what we always call the problem. Frankly, there's too many over-the-road modes and it makes visibility difficult. Over-the-road modes of transit include much more than many shippers realize. Typical over-the-road modes include full truckload, less than truckload, and small package, or also called parcel shipping. To further complicate the process of freight scheduling, shippers must decide which LTL carrier to use, whether to purchase cargo insurance, consider the implications of shipping a package via parcel, or maybe staying with LTL, or maybe even consolidating and going to a full truckload. And then you gotta use math for dimensional pricing and what exact type full truckload you might need if you do go full truckload. Simply, as you can see, it's a lot to consider. Essentially, this amounts to roughly 64 potential combinations for over-the-road transportation, and that excludes value-added services such as ease in freight auditing or payment processing considerations that you might need to make. It's easy to see why shippers experience trouble in managing over-the-road transit. So visibility into this mode quickly can become murky, and all other modes as well. So that's the challenge, but what's the solution? Well, a dedicated TMS can manage all over-the-road, also called OTR, modes, making full use of OTR possible. Now, take a moment to consider what dedicated TMS is. It is a one-stop platform that manages all existing transportation modes. Considering the 64 potential combinations in over-the-road transportation modes, when applied to the course of, say, 1,000 shipments, it amounts to roughly 64,000 opportunities of error. That's quite a lot. And applied to 100 potential origins and destinations, the number of potential combination rises to 6.4 million, with an M, million. There is no room for error or mistake in data entry. But a dedicated TMS relies on technology, not just human input, to ensure shippers are getting the most value from logistics. Okay. So clearly technology through a TMS is a great solution, but when implemented, what are the benefits? Well, advanced cloud-based technologies allow for continuous improvement and further accountability. Continuous improvement and accountability are among the top benefits realized through a dedicated TMS. A dedicated TMS makes information presentable, identifying at-risk shipments easier, understanding your average freight spend, allows you to break down barriers to continuous improvement, and so much more. Although using more carriers can significantly increase your freight spend at times, a TMS can effectively manage multi-carrier and multi-driver relationships. In a sense, a shipper is involved with a system, not necessarily each individual carrier. Now, not every TMS is created equal. A system to request quotes and schedule freight is great, but it lacks value if developers lie down on the job. Therefore, more companies are turning to 3PLs, such as Cerasis, who have an in-house technology team to continue to update that TMS as new technologies come on board. For example, we're in the middle of a blockchain content series and talking about the potential impact of blockchain. If you have a TMS that maybe you purchased a few years ago and you have to keep going back for continual updates, how expensive will it be if the new provider says, yeah, we'll give you blockchain, but it's going to cost you so much more? You want to look for a TMS provider that understands how to update their technology, that understands the importance of listening to the marketplace, listening to their customers, and responding to that from a technological aspect so that you, the end user, benefit and are able to reach your goals of creating efficiencies in shipping and reducing your total costs in transportation. So, in conclusion, deploying a 3PL is great, but deploying a 3PL built, managed, and maintained TMS is even better. Further, working with a 3PL built with strategic value and working with an outside source is an integral part of being able to manage all over-the-road modes effectively and find the capacity you're seeking. Instead of relying on spreadsheets and in-house personnel to manage freight, simplify the process by implementing a top-quality TMS and leveraging the power of a 3PL shipper partnership. Now that's it for this week's show. Got any questions we can answer? Then in the comments right below, give us your question. We'll provide an answer as soon as possible. And hey, are you enjoying Talking Freight? We enjoy putting it together, and we want to make sure that you see every educational video. So how do you do that? Well, you have a subscribe button here on this channel or on this YouTube video that you're watching. Hit that subscribe button. Even further, hit the bell that you see once you do. That bell then will give you an email or notification on your YouTube app on your phone every time we publish a brand new Talking Freight episode. We'd also love to have you on social media. We're on all these major platforms. We're tweeting good information like other industries or other publications content along with our own educational content that we're putting out. So make sure you follow us there as well. And not a big fan of getting information via YouTube notifications or maybe even on social media, but you don't want to miss any of our stuff? Well, there's another way for you to get that information. You can subscribe to our daily email blast where we're sending out our blog post, and whenever we have a new podcast episode or a new educational ebook or white paper, or even each episode of Talking Freight, we'll send it right to you via email. So just go to Cerasis.com, scroll down a little bit down the page, and you'll see a box come up, just like you do now. You put in your email address and hit subscribe, and we'll make sure to email you every educational piece of content that we put out. We'll see you for another episode next week of Talking Freight. Take care.